Alright everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is episode 8 with the Sound Booth. My name is Lombax.
I'm Josh.
And today we are here with Danny Fathom, also known as Fathom D. Everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
Just killed it on stage.
Hey, these wonderful gentlemen just came out to my show at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. Appreciate you guys. Thanks
Super hot, right in the middle of San Francisco. Got here at 2 o'clock, started raining, and then boom, sunshine. So it's been great so far. On the other side, right, happening right now, we got a bunch of DJs playing. So we were able to snag Danny Fathom for a quick second.
Yep.
So I guess the best question to start off really is, what got you into music? When did you first start?
You know, it's so funny. I didn't know I was a DJ, but I was a DJ ever since I was like 11 or 12 years old. I would always play Xbox Live, and I would literally tape my mic to the speaker and play music for all my people in the party.
You were that guy?
You were that guy.
I was that guy. I would play like I would grab my dad's Queen album, put it on the stereo, play all Queen. If we won, we are the champions. All that good stuff. And
awesome.
I didn't even realize at the time, but I was being a DJ, you know?
Gotcha.
And later on, I downloaded Audacity and I started messing with tracks. Then I had a buddy going, "What are you doing? Why don't you just start DJing? And why don't you download Virtual DJ?" And I was like, what's that?
Yeah.
And actually,
DJ?
Nico Crespo.
That's my cousin.
Yeah, really?
Oh, small world.
I used to work with him with
Told you.
Yeah, right? I used to work with him at In and Out, and I would show him some of my little edits. Like I would take a song without like a vocal before the drop, and I would just throw a vocal on the drop before. And then I would show him, and he's like, "Well, why don't you start mixing them together?" And he told me to download Virtual DJ.
Wow.
And ever since then, I downloaded it, bought a DJ Wego, and 7 years later, here we are.
Small world, man.
Yeah, it's Nico Crespo.
We're gonna get him on soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, Danny. So, what got you into EDM? Why'd you start spinning EDM in the first place?
You know, the song that got me into EDM, like many other people, Warp 1.9 by Stevie Aoki.
Oh, nice.
I remember being in the car ride, me and my brother and a bunch of our church were going up to Clear Lake, and this girl was like, "Yo, can I play some country song?" I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." And then all of a sudden, she put on Warp 1.9. And I remember just being in the front seat going, "What song is this?" Like, I was like, "Can you play that again?"
Yeah.
What was that? I couldn't get enough of it. Then I went to Hume Lake, which is a Christian camp.
Hume Lake. Oh my God.
Yeah, man, and I mean, they would like get us all riled up for like we don't be on teams, and then they play Warp 1.9 again, and I just saw the way people were like just getting let loose and getting down, and I was like,
even at a Christian camp.
yeah, right, this is awesome. Like, what is this? And I remember like I mean, my first exposure to EDM was probably Satisfaction by Benny Benassi.
Oh yeah.
And I love that. Like I saw that commercial and I was like, oh my goodness. So I kind of like was like, okay, what is this techno, right? What is this genre? And I found that song through that girl or whatever, and I just started like listening to more music. And then I went to a Feed Me show. Feed Me. Man, I saw him in SF. And I remember just being in a venue and feeling my first frequency of the bass.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't even the opener. It was a guy playing his iPod.
Nice.
And there's one bass frequency just hit my body, and I was just like, oh.
This is it.
Oh, this. And then the actual person came on, and I was like, oh. Like, where has this been all my life? Like, my goodness. And then Feed Me came on, and I remember just dancing, and I just felt my tribal side awaken, you know?
There you go.
Like my ancestors had been dancing for hundreds and thousands of years around a campfire to giant drums, and I felt that side awaken. And I was like, I need to do this at least once a month, maybe every 2 weeks. Like this, I need this. This is amazing. And I made that decision right there that I had to get more of that in my life. And it kind of just started
7 years ago.
Yeah. Then I went to Tiesto at San Jose State, and woo! That was it. Then I met Nico, and I was like, I gotta start doing this.
The rest is history.
Yeah, right.
All right, so Danny, real quick, can you tell us about a little bit about your creative process? How do you typically start making music? What gets you influenced?
You know, it's so funny. I feel like whenever I have the best idea in my head, it's when I can't make music. Like I'll be in the shower and I'll just hear this melody in my head. And I'm like, no, this melody has to be from a different song. Like it sounds so good. Like no, and I would just think, like, isn't this a song? It's not a song. And I'd be in the shower and I would literally run out of the shower, grab my phone, and sing into the phone because I'm like, I don't want to forget this. Like there's so many times where I'd be like, no, it's in there. I hear it so clearly. And then I'll come back and I'm like, how did it go again? So I always just like, I'll just be walking, I'll be showering. It always happens in the shower. And I try to wonder.
That's the time where you get to like, there's no distractions. Like it's just you, it's your thoughts, and then boom, that's okay.
I've been starting to put my phone in a plastic bag, and I go in the shower because I know as soon as my brain hears that like water hitting whatever it is, like that percussion or something, my brain just starts to going off like buff, buff, da da da. I'm like, oh, I gotta record this. And sometimes I'll like send that recording to myself, and I'll like, you know, maybe like make a melody out of actual instruments out of what I said. And you can actually do a cool thing in FL Studio. You can like take the vocal and like get the piano roll, like what the actual notes are, and then like copy that and then put it in an instrument. Oh. So that's pretty cool. Like it's not always that accurate because I'm not pitch perfect, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
But that's pretty cool. But sometimes I'll just be on the computer and I'll just start making drums, and I'll just like, oh, I'm gonna make a cool bass line.
Yeah.
And then like I just try to get something that sounds good like right away. So that way I'm like, wait, great kick, great snare, great cat. Okay, now I just try to be as minimal as possible. Like I started really getting into Boris Breckhoff, and like his tracks are like 20 tracks, maybe like 25, and mine are like 60, 70 sometimes. And I'm like, how is his so good and so simple?
Yeah.
But I watch a lot of his tutorials, and he's like, just make the best kick you can find, absolute best kick, the absolute best hat, the absolute best this. And he just gets like everything that you hear is the best that he can find. Yeah. So I've been really starting to be more minimal about that.
That's good. So you're just like cutting out the noise, looking for that quality, that one quality type thing.
Really? And like sometimes you'll hear a song, and I used to like, you know, I want this kick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but that'd be kind of stealing if I just took their kick. And but then I watched Martin Garrix, his song Animals. He took the kick from Joy Energizer, which is an amazing song by Sander Van Doorn. Yeah. Took that kick, Eric Prince's snare, boom. So it's like, there we go. He's got the best kick in the business at the time, the best snare, right? So like, it's not, you know, no one's really looking down on you.
Yeah. No,
someone
not
else, right? It's like you don't got to reinvent the wheel. Eric Prince already did the snare right. Not that you shouldn't, you know, try to innovate it further, but when you're first starting out, you know, like focus on the creative part of it. Like you can EQ a snare for 6 hours. Why? Why not just get something that already sounds good, get a good kick drum, and then make something like a melody that's really creative, you know? You'll develop further along with your, you know, technical skills, you know? But,
exactly.
So sometimes I'll just spend like a couple hours making some nice drums, and I'll come back to it later and be like, there's nothing here. Like they got some cool drums, but like there's no creative part in this. So I always I always try to start with a melody or some chords. I used to start with drums, but I'm like, make the thing that people are gonna remember from the song. Like they're gonna hear it and be like, what was that song that did this thing? That's what you should start with.
Perfect. Love it. So Danny, I know I've known you for quite some time, ever since, and it's funny you're talking about Hume Lake. It seems like we've all been there. So again, small world. All right, Danny. So, how did you get here? How did you start? You know, I know you're for anybody who's listening. He's part of Trance Family San Francisco. That's a big collective. How did you get to this spot?
So I'll tell you first. The way I joined Trance Family was I was always kind of into house music. I really loved Feed Me, who did a lot of kind of electro house, and Wolfgang Partner. Yeah. And then it slowly, as my music taste matured, I kind of really enjoyed the journey as opposed to just the big banging track. So that kind of led me into trance. And then I met my good friend, Eugene Liu and Brandon Trujillo, also known as Brandon Michaels. Nice. Two amazing producer, great artists. And they love trance. And I'm like, okay, well, I make house and like this kind of genre. Like, they wanted to make music. I'm like, okay, well, we can make a trance song, but I'm just gonna make a 138 track as if I would make a house track. Okay. So like we kind of like that's how I kind of got my beak wet, if I can say that. Right. And we had a track, and luckily we had a very good friend of ours who was mixing and mastering it. He referred it to Heatbeat on our Armada, and they signed it, and I was like, oh my god, like this is crazy, like that's it, you know. But the thing was, I love that track. Kensho was our first track. But I felt like, you know, it was a lot of them. You know, it was Eugene, Liu, and Brandon. It was also a little bit of me, but like I just felt like I couldn't show someone this track and be like, this is 100% me. Like this is. I feel like this is what represents me.
So Danny, what's some advice you can give people not to do in this industry that you're in?
Well, for me personally, in my personal experience, what I learned very early on, it's not all about you. And I think one of the biggest times where that really came into play was when I remember I was DJing at the Grand SF, and I was working that night until about 9 p.m. and it was my first ever show at a club. And I remember they're like, all right, Danny, you're on at 10. Like, they told me that like while I'm at work. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm working till 9, guys. It's an SF. It's an hour drive. I can't. So what I literally did is they posted the set time in the chat. I copied the set times, pasted it, and rearranged it. I'm like, how does this work? I'll go on at this time. You go on at this time.
You changed it yourself.
And I'm like changing the set time. And I get to the venue. And I go, okay, it's me playing in like what, 15, like 30 minutes, right? Like, no, you missed your set. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I thought I rearranged it and it was cool. They're like, no, you missed it. Luckily, Mario Mayer was there and he let me play the last 15 minutes of his set. But basically, when you're starting out, if somebody gives you an opportunity, don't like think you can just take, they give you an inch and you can take a mile, you know? They're giving you a time to be there and you can play, show up, play. If you can't make it, tell them you can't make it for that time. But I tried to rearrange all the time slots.
All right, so Danny, if aliens were ever to come visit the Earth, they abduct you, take you away, but they gave you a piece of paper, and they told you to leave pieces of advice, what would that be? What would that advice be?
So my first piece of advice, this actually comes from a producer by the name of Hammer. Great talented producer, and the advice that he gave was wait 6 months. And you know, kind of emphasize that. He talks about if you have something great, you have a great track, a great remix, something that you know is gonna make an impression. Don't just release it right away. Wait 6 months until you can make something to follow that up. Because you don't want to just be a flash in the pan. You don't want to just have one great thing and then you put it out right away, and then you're all like, oh my God, how am I gonna follow this up? Like, people are watching now. I got eyes on me. You know, after a month or two, a few months, people are kind of like, hey, what? This is great. You're doing good. Like, what's next? And you don't have what's
You're like,
next. You don't got the next plan. Third piece of advice: there's only really 2 choices in life. There's fear and there's love. And I really believe that if you break down every decision you make far enough, you will find that it's either out of fear of something or out of the love of something. And my advice,
I've heard that before.
yeah, right? I mean, a lot of people have said that. It's so true. And, you know, like something I live by is live in love. And I mean, I don't, you know, I gotta, every single day you gotta make the decision, why am I doing what I'm doing? Am I making music? Am I DJing so I can glorify myself and like make myself feel good? Or am I really trying to make something special here? Am I really trying to put something out, create something that's gonna change the world and change someone's life? You know, and I feel like in the beginning, the answer for me was, I just want to know I was good enough. I just wanted to be accepted. I want people to see me up there and know, look, I can do this. I'm good enough. But like, you know, but then it kind of over time is like really kind of evolved to me like, like I'm changing. Like people here are dancing, they're having a good time. Like I have an opportunity to affect them, and I want to affect them in the most positive, beautiful way I can. Yeah, and to follow that up. Remember, when you got something, a great piece of music, and you got a big show coming up, remember why you're doing it and why you did it. You did it because you love music and the way it affected you and the way you want to have that effect on other people. Thank you. I appreciate both of you, seriously.
Now, what do you got coming up to tell the people?
Yeah, what's next for Fathom D?
Yeah, Fathom D.
What's next for Fathom D and Danny Fathom? So what's so great is I've had so much music that I've been making for the past like year, it could be 2 years and 3 years, that I felt like really wasn't a fit for Danny Fathom because Danny Fathom is like really kind of trance, more like that, like heavy banger kind of stuff, you know, a little bit. And now I started this whole new alias Fathom D because I would play a show as Danny Fathom and play the stuff I like the really dreamy kind of stuff you get lost in the techno and the melodic house. And people are like, where's the side trance? Where's this? And I'm like, I want to play that, but like right now at this moment, this is what I'm loving. This is what I'm feeling. So I started Fathom D to really just play what I feel like playing, and I have Danny Fathom where I can play the bangers and the trance and all that other stuff. But so I'm going to be releasing a lot of original music under Fathom D that I've been making over the past few years. A lot of house and techno. And I got a few big releases as Danny Fathom coming up as well. Trying to balance both these projects here. But I think it's really good because now people aren't going to really be like, hey, why aren't you playing this trance? Or why aren't you playing this? So I can kind of separate them. Cool. So yeah, I've got a bunch of, once COVID's over, I got some deals in Indonesia. Gonna be playing some international shows in Indonesia and Thailand. And
Wow.
Awesome.
hopefully, you know, we get some stuff going here again and we can make it happen.
Yes, man.
And of course,
There
make
we
sure you
go.
guys stay in with the sound booth. They're going to be having some amazing guests coming on very soon.
Yeah.
And they're doing great stuff. So stay locked in, you guys.
Thank you, man. Thanks for tuning in to episode 8
Number 8.
of the Sound Booth Podcast. I'm Josh once again,
Long backs.
and thank you.
Yes, great, hardworking people right here.
Thank you.
Love it,
Thank
everyone.
you everybody
Thank you.
for tuning in. We're gonna have all his links, all his music, you know, linked up underneath. So when you guys tune in, just be sure to check that out. We're gonna be doing a whole another like EDM kind of segment this month. So just stay tuned, and thank you again for tuning in.
Have a good one.
And you don't know if you go, don't be afraid to jump.